How do oyster catchers open oysters? If you've ever wondered how oyster catchers, those sleek and agile birds, manage to crack open oysters, you're about to find out. Let's take a closer look at their unique methods. Oyster catchers are well adapted to opening oysters, and they don't rely on trial and error. Instead, they use a combination of techniques that have been honed over generations. Here's how they do it. First, the oyster catcher needs to find an oyster that is slightly open or gaping. This is crucial because the bird can't force its beak between tightly closed valves. Once it finds a suitable oyster, the bird uses its strong pointed beak to its advantage. The oyster catcher will typically insert its beak between the posterior margins of the oyster's valves, where the shell is slightly open. This allows the bird to apply the greatest leverage with the least exertion. Here's a step-by-step breakdown. The bird will lower its head quickly to one side, creating a wide angle, and then apply a series of blows obliquely onto the margin of the shell. This is done with the point of the beak. The bird may use more than one method to open the shell, often combining these blows with a twisting motion to pry the shell open. If the shell is moving around, which can happen if it's not fixed to the substrate, the bird will adjust its approach to stabilize the oyster. It's interesting to note that oyster catchers are highly efficient at this process. They don't seem to need to learn how to open oysters through personal experience. Instead, this skill appears to be inherited. This is evident from the fact that young oyster catchers can open oysters with ease, even on their first attempts. The process can be a bit time-consuming, especially if the shells are tightly closed. But oyster catchers are determined and persistent. They have been observed using the same methods to open other types of shellfish, such as mussels, indicating a broad adaptability in their feeding habits. In natural conditions, oysters are usually fixed to the substrate, making it easier for the oyster catcher to apply the necessary force without the shell moving around. This stability is key to the bird's success in opening the oyster. So, the next time you see an oyster catcher at work, remember the precision and skill that goes into opening those tough oyster shells. It's a testament to the bird's remarkable adaptation to its environment and its role as a skilled predator in the coastal ecosystem.